Ki mitzvah Eloheinu Gadol. I was just too excited. Al Slosha Divari Haolam Omer Al Gimilu Hasadim Al HaTorah Ve'al HaAvodah Ve'al Gimilu. I hear your voice, there is no choice. The world is bigger than us all. Shah Divari Haolam Omer Al HaTorah Ve'al HaAvodah Ve'al Gimilu. Don't be a slave who serves to gain a reward that holds no truth. You and I've got work to do. Carry me, I'll carry you. Al Slosha Divari Haolam Omer Al Slosha Divari Haolam Omer Al HaTorah Ve'al HaAvodah Ve'al Gimilu Chasadim Al HaTorah Ve'al HaAvodah Ve'al Gimilu Chasadim. Al Slosha Divari Haolam Omer Al Slosha Divari Haolam Omer Al HaTorah Ve'al HaAvodah Ve'al Gimilu Chasadim Al HaTorah Ve'al HaAvodah Ve'al Gimilu Chasadim.
For those of you who are interested in following along, hopefully you were able to pick up a Plaut Chumash. If you did, I will be reading in just a moment from page 195. Our Torah portion this week is Parashat Vayetze, and I encourage you, if you would love to learn even more about this Torah portion, tonight I share a story since it is our Share Shabbat. But tomorrow morning, we have a bar mitzvah, Sam Baumpower, who will be reading again from Torah from a different section, and will be offering a Devar Torah. So I always encourage you not just to come once over the weekend, but to come again. So please be here tomorrow if you are able. Our Torah portion is what we call tzafuf. It's very full. There's a lot happening in it. And if you are paying attention to what's been going on, we're coming from a really bad family situation where we have Jacob, who has been fleeing from Esau after a little bit of trickery had gone down at the end of his father's life. And while he is on his way, he dreams of angels that are going up and down the ladder, at which point God blesses him and Jacob names the place Beth-El. We then move into the story where Jacob is working for 7 years in order to marry Rachel, but Lavan tricks Jacob into marrying. This is for the younger people. Do you all know who he tricks? Excellent, perfect. Rachel's older sister. And of course, in their tradition, they try to marry the older before the younger, or at least that's what Lavan says. And so he then commits himself to work another 7 years for Lavan. Following this, our Torah portion continues with Leah, Rachel, and their maidservants Bilhah and Zilpah giving birth to 11 sons and 1 daughter. And at the end of this, Jacob and his family leave Lavan's household with a bit of wealth. At the top of the page, close to the top, blessing before reading of Torah, and I encourage you to join with me as a congregation. Baruch hu et Adonai vahed, Baruch atah Adon kol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten ha'torah. Vayetze Yaakov mi Beersheva, vayelech Harana. And Jacob went forth from Beersheva and went towards Haran. Vayifga b'makom, vayalin sham kiva hashemesh. And he then arrived to a place where he then rested because the sun had set. Vayikach me'avnei hamakom, vayasam meroshotav. And he took from one of the stones that was there of that place and placed it at his head. Vayeshkav, there was a sulam, the top of it went towards the heavens. Vehine malache Elohim olim v'yordim vo. And then he sees that there are these malache Adonai, these angels of God, who are going not down and up, but they're going up and down. Vehine Adonai nitzav alav, and God was standing above. Vayomer, and said, Ani Adonai Elohei Avraham Avicha. I am Adonai, the Lord of, or the God of Abraham, your father. Velohei Yitzchak, and the father of Isaac, and the God of Isaac. Haaretz asher atah shechav lecha, this land which you are resting upon. Lecha et nana uzarecha. I am giving this land to you and to those who will come after you. V'hayei zaracha ka'afar haaretz, and your offspring shall be like the dust of the earth. Ufaratzta, and they shall be spread out. Yama v'kedma tzafona uvizarecha, and all of the families of the earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. V'hine anochi imcha, and behold, I am here with you. Ushmarticha b'chol asher telech. I will be guarding you in all that you are doing in your wanderings. V'hashivoticha el ha'adama hazot, and I will return you to this land. Kilo ezavcha od asher imasiti et asher dibarti lecha, because I will make good on this promise that I have said that I will do for you. Vayikatz Yaakov mishnato, and Jacob woke up from his sleep. Vayomer achein yesh Adonai b'makom hazeh v'anochi lo yadati. Behold, God was in this place, and I did not know. Vayera vayomer, and he was afraid and said, Manora hamakom hazeh. What is it that is so awesome about this place? How awesome it is. Ein zeh ki im beit Elohim. It is none other than a house of God. V'zeh sha'ar hashamayim, and this must be a gateway unto heaven. Please join with me for our blessing following Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah. While the Torah is in our midst, we begin with a mishaberach, or a blessing, known as Achenu, which is a prayer for redemption of hostages. Our God, the one who raised Joseph up from the pit, be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. Send complete rescue and full redemption to all those held captive by the enemy. Strengthen their spirit and bring them our prayers, that they be protected from all harm. Implant understanding in the heart of the enemy, that they may return the captives in wholeness of body and spirit. Grant wisdom to the Israel Defense Forces, that they may secure freedom for the captives without loss of life. Grant strength of spirit and courage of heart to all the sons and daughters of Abraham, Sarah, and Hagar, to release bonds of captivity and allow us all to live in freedom. As we read in Psalm 91, "They shall call upon me, and I will answer them. I will be with them in distress. I will rescue them and honor them." We also call to mind those in our own community who have been facing illness and pain. May they benefit from the healing power within them and from the wisdom, experience, and skill of those entrusted with their care. May those who are ill find strength in the knowledge that those who love them and care about them and are praying for them are wishing them well. May they find courage and comfort in any difficult days ahead. Baruch atah Adonai Rofei HaCholim. At this time, we think specifically or especially of Maureen Bolmgren, Binyamina Bat Shalva V'Adam, Tim Holman, Jim Locke, Jordan Arms, Ella Dubrow, Jeremy Watts, Brandon Watts, Bert Seidel, Bruce Brenner, Barb Gronefeld, Isaac Spicer, David Hernandez, Norman and Carol Leist, Andy Leifheit, Rob Mandel, Ken Rosenzweig, Kyle Kreider, Anna Pullman Garcia, Bobby DeSalvo, Justin Zeisloft, Natalie Katz, Kazimira Cairo, Mariah Strickland, Eileen Eady, Catherine Cooper, Sid Gross, Cicely Nathan, and Gary Pacernick, as well as Peggy Weller. There are other names. Please call them forward as well. Please join me in the words of Misha Berach. They can be found on the back side of your prayer card. If you are able to please rise as we lift and dress our Torah.
V'zot HaTorah atzer tzar Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai v'yad Moshe. Adonai Elohim, Romenu Adonai Eloheinu, v'chishtachavu lecha kodsho, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu.
bless you. There's no better place to hear that other than a sanctuary, right? So I have a story to share with you, and it is called The Hidden Spark. We are taught that, of course, it's in a small village overseas. It was a cold and bitter winter night, much like we have this evening. At this time, the rabbi arrives into this village, a rabbi who was visiting. And he had come because he was hoping to bring hope and guidance to the community. But when he entered the village, it was really eerie. It was so very quiet. And he noticed that all of the homes were very dimly lit. The streets were empty. The synagogue, which we know would have been the heart of the Jewish community, was dark and shuttered. Now, this happened, of course, during Hanukkah, which is coming up in our month as well. The rabbi knocks on a nearby door where he finds a weary villager. The man's eyes were filled with sadness, but he welcomed the rabbi and said, "Welcome, Rabbi. Unfortunately, you've come at a difficult time, and our people here have forgotten how to hope. Life is hard, and our festival feels like a distant dream. We used to celebrate, but now I'm afraid the light has left us." He told him that the villagers' struggles had begun years before during a time of persecution, when there was a cruel edict forbidding public expressions of Jewish faith. Fearing for their lives at the time, the villagers had hid their menorahs, their prayer books, and they had stopped gathering together to celebrate their festivals. Over time, the community became disconnected. The parents were no longer teaching their children any of the ancient prayers. The holidays were no longer joyful, but a distant memory. And even after the edict was lifted, it seemed the scars it left behind lingered. Many of those villagers had lost loved ones, and they were weary, and their faith felt fragile. And so the rabbi listened and nodded thoughtfully, and he asked to be taken to the synagogue. As he entered, he saw what the villager meant. For the sanctuary was cold and dusty. The menorah was tarnished in the corner. Yet as the rabbi brushed his hand over its surface, a faint gleam shone through the grime. Gathering the villagers, the rabbi stood before them and said, "I see your pain. It feels as though your light has gone out, that hope may be lost. But I'll tell you this, inside each of you is a spark of holy light, like the menorah, and action to shine again." And the villagers listened and murmured among themselves, asking, could this be true? Could they still reclaim that light that they had cherished? So the rabbi raised his hand and spoke again, saying, "Let me show you." Out of his bag, he pulled out a very small, well-worn menorah and placed it on the central table. The villagers instinctively gathered closer. He said, "We will light just one candle. Even a single flame can help push away the darkness." And as the rabbi struck the match and lit that first candle, the villagers watched in silence. The small flame flickered and danced, casting golden light across the faces in the room. And the rabbi began to sing the blessings, his voice rich and steady. Slowly, hesitantly, others joined in. Their voices grew louder, the melody filling that cold, empty space with warmth and life. And then something remarkable happened. That light from that single candle seemed to grow brighter, reaching into every corner of the room. The villagers felt its warmth not just on their skin, but deep in their hearts. They looked at one another, and they saw something they had almost forgotten. The strength of their shared faith, the beauty of their traditions, and most importantly, the power of community. From that night forward, the villagers began to rebuild their synagogue and to rekindle their celebrations. And each year, as they lit that menorah, they remembered the rabbi's words. Even when it feels dark, the spark of holiness within you can light up the world. In our Torah portion this week, where Jacob's journey was Esau's wrath, We are like Jacob, who wrestle with doubts and dreams of a divine connection, just like those who were in this village. They, at the time, were grappling with their faith after enduring great hardship. And just as Jacob, in his moment of fear and uncertainty, dreamt of a ladder connecting heaven and earth, the villagers rediscovered their connection to something higher, a divine spark that can never be lost. As we hear in our Torah portion, surely Adonai is in this place, and I did not know it. In this we heard through the villagers' awakening to the holiness within themselves and their community. As with Hanukkah, when the menorah's light reminds us of resilience and faith, we hope that this story will continue to encourage us to look inward and outward for the sparks of hope that can illuminate even the darkest of times. Ken Hiratzon. If you are able, I invite you to please rise as we return the Torah to the Ark, and I'd like to invite our younger participants to come forward and help me by putting their own little Torahs in the Ark.
It is a tree of life to them that hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. It is a tree of life to them that hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. Shalom, 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 shalom. Eitz chaim hilem machazikim ba v'tomchecha me'ushar. Eitz chaim hilem machazikim ba v'tomchecha me'ushar. Shalom, 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 shalom.
Continue with the words of Aleinu.
Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gerula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kiyuye haratzot, velo samanu kimishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kachem, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר הוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד.
At this time, we call to mind those who are no longer with us, whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. We remember that we are in a period of Shiva for Cynthia Weston and a period of Shloshim for Joan Isaac. We also are recognizing the yahrzeits this week for Muriel Holt Altman, Mildred K. Altschul, Jean Bachrach, Pierre J.H. Ball, Louis Bernstein, Rose Louis Bernstein, Minnie Bercius, Louis Brown, Philip Brown, Max Kaplan, Samuel Cohn, Thelma Donnenfeld, Rosalie Ock Eisenberger, Henry M. Field, Harry Gershow, Charles Getz, Esther Ruth Goldberg, Theodore Goldberg, Stephen Goldberg, Samuel Gordon, Leon Gradsky, Dorothy G. Harlan, Gerald Cantor, Corinne Kussworm, James Law, Esther M. Liebensberger, Mr. Howard Lubeau, Abe Margolis, Max Margolis, Ruth B. Meadow, Lou Meckler, Elliot Merstein, Pearl Paul, Richard Reinecke, Ada Rosenthal, Esther R. Ross, Marguerite B. Restlander, Irene Fisher Sachs, Rosa Shadle, Ira H. Schatzley, Miss Sydney Shane, Sue J. Silverman, Jacob L. Simon, Ruth R. Stein, Louis Sternberger, Max Weiner, Jamie Joe Weprin, Carrie Yazanoff, Saul Zereg, Esther Zisson. If there are other names to be remembered or perhaps more correctly pronounced, please call those forward as my hand goes across the room. I'd like to invite all who are remembering or in mourning to please rise. And we all join together as we rise for the sacred words of Kaddish at the bottom of your prayer card. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach yirteh v'yanlich malchuteh, b'chayechon v'yomechon, uv'chayeh dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mivarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach amin kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who grieve. Amen. We continue with our closing prayer, which we thank you, O God, for our family and for what we mean and bring to one another. We are grateful for the bonds of loyalty and affection which sustain us. Above all, grant us the wisdom to build a joyous and peaceful home. Gather in Gimel down the hallway for our blessings before our camp. Way down there, find perhaps a person you don't know to sit with, and I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.